done. Okay. Hey, it's Shiraz. We're back with Rewriting Reality. And I kind of want to rewrite my reality right now because yesterday I was in Cancun and it was 30 degrees Celsius. And now I'm in Toronto and it's 5 degrees Celsius. And I kind of want to rewrite that and switch it back again. But I'm going to just accept it, deal with it, because I have a wonderful show because my guest is Cari Brunton, and we're going to bring her up in just a second. So if you're new to the show, Rewriting Reality is where I have guests on. And like other shows, I interview the guests, but unlike other shows, I always bring on people that can coach me so that I can do things better. And so we have coaches. It's not just like life coaches or transformational coaches. We have coaches on marketing, on sales. Today we have a coach on events and webinars. And I'm really going to put my feet to the fire with Cari here because I just did an event and she's going to tell me what I did wrong with the event. Okay. So, and wait a sec. I want to just read this. Was it here? No, it wasn't in text. It was an email. She said she was gonna do a Kanye style. So I'm like, oh, okay, but I'm ready for it. We can. We'll see what happens with this whole thing. So yeah. So after they coach me, I get to coach them. I get to do energetic magic on my guests, and this has worked very well with some guests. Some guests who didn't really know what energetic magic was, but came on the show, kind of went, what's going on? And that's always a treat for me. But Cari has experienced energetic magic, so she's going to be all good with this. And I think that's it. By the way, Cancun was amazing. I recommend getting down to an all-inclusive. Now, here's the thing. I went down there for what was a mastermind session. Now, usually when I go out to events, they pack the events and we're going to get you doing this workshop and we're going to teach you this, and they put as much as possible in. For this particular mastermind, though, we spent maybe 2 hours a day doing the actual masterminding thing, and the rest of the time was hanging at the beach, hanging at the pool, going out for dinner. And it was just so freaking relaxing. But in that space of just getting relaxed, ideas bubbled up. And so when we did work together, we got some amazing results from it. So I recommend doing it the easy way. With my manifestation squad, we have what's called floaty time. Floaty time is when we all get together, we hang out by a pool, and then we just go, you know what would be cool to try in your business? It's like, oh my God, that would totally be cool. And we have these conversations that just enhances all our businesses. And it's all just hanging out by a pool. You don't have to be in a classroom going, ooh, let's just work this out with all the notes and paper and everything. It's just, you know what would be cool? And then go from there. So do some floaty time. Find some people to mastermind with. And yeah, get your group together and see what is possible. So that's my spiel on masterminds, and definitely get out, get some sun, enjoy yourself. Right now, we're going to bring up my guest, Cari Brunton, the webinar queen. Hey, girl.
Hello.
What's up?
I am all good. And for the record, I said it was going to be Kanye level of mean, not Kanye style. There will be no rapping.
Oh.
Because I cannot, I don't think I can rap. I'll try. It'll probably be bad, but I'll
right,
try.
So I brought someone on my show to be mean to me. Like, that's what
I'm
happened.
kidding. I'm not going to be, I'm would never actually show up here and be mean to you.
It would be different.
I actually, you horrible person.
I know, I can see it.
I don't think I could keep a straight face while trying to be mean to you, to be honest. I think I would just crack out laughing.
I don't see that happening. But I did actually do a course once. It was a 10-week course, and it was called The Hard Truth. Okay. And I said, during this course, I'm not going to hold back. I'm going to say, look, this is the crap that's going on in your life, and this is the shit you need to change. And it filled. I was like, what? What do you mean? What do you mean it filled up? That's crazy. Some people need it.
Absolutely. I think it's healthy. You know, I really love that quote from Ted Lasso. The truth will set you free, but first it'll piss you off.
Oh.
I think that's true. So often, like sometimes you need that.
Yep.
And it's just, you got to take that and let it be motivating fire for you.
Okay. So Cari's going to hit me with some truths in just a sec. But before we get to that, Cari, tell us, the story behind the Cari, behind Red Bucket events. How did this all come to be? Why did you even start this? Was this just what you were born doing? Inquiring. No.
No, not at all. Well, the full story behind the Cari involves something with my parents in a bar and other things, but well, so we're going to skip ahead a little beyond that because I don't think we need to go quite that far back.
Mm-hmm.
But I used to be in marketing and specifically copywriting, and I had a job as a social media developer and a content developer for a small charity in Niagara Falls, Canada. And one day they came up to me and said, "Hey, plan our Easter fundraiser." And I was like, "Okay." And I had so much fun doing it. They were so supportive, and I loved it. I loved it so much that when that contract position was over, I turned around and did my post-grad in event management so that I could spend so much more time working on events and building these actual experiences for people.
Nice.
And eventually that led to me launching my own business, Red Bucket Events, in 2019. And then unfortunately in 2020, my business came to an absolute grinding halt where just everything froze. Live events everywhere were stopped. We didn't know what to do. It was a lot of this for like the next 6 months, also a lot of me ripping my hair out, crying in corners from stress, things like that. It was a good time. And but what weirdly started happening was people started asking me about webinars. And originally they were asking me specifically about marketing webinars because it's pretty much exactly the same thing as marketing virtual events. And I was doing that, but then I would go and watch the webinars and they weren't that good. And I was like, no. I was like, and so I was like, you know what? Let me show you how to do this. And so I was like, I got this. I know how to do this. I know how to get on stage and I know how to sell. I can do it. And I know how to run an event. I can do all of it at once. And so I got up and I gave a great presentation and people were engaged and smiling and nodding along with me the whole bit. And then nobody bought a thing.
Ooh.
I was so embarrassed. I was so convinced that I was going to be absolutely amazing at this on my first try and flat on my face. But so instead of saying, okay, that's not for me, I was like, no, this is awesome. Other people clearly need help with this, and I can really see the potential in this. So I went and I took tons of courses on sales psychology specifically, on webinar production, on virtual event management, on specifically in formatting 1 hour events, all these things so that I could turn around and give that to other people. And so when I was done, I turned around, I did a new webinar, and it became a huge source of leads for me. And I loved it. I had so much fun doing it. It made my marketing so much easier. And I said, I got to give this to other people. So that is now one of the things I do in addition to event planning. And I just get to have tons of fun with it.
Nice. All right. And you've actually got something coming up tomorrow.
Tomorrow, I'm doing a free masterclass. It's called From Webinars to Paying Clients, Grow Your Business with Webinars, where I'm going to break down how you get started speaking by using webinars, the 3 keys you need to have in place for them to be successful, and what kind of content converts and what doesn't. We're going to have so much fun.
I'm going to post that in the chat.
Yeah. And if anybody's watching live right now, feel free to throw stuff in the comments. Let us know. We'd love interacting with you. Please make sure you take time to review Shiraz's show and let you know you've been checking him out, because I know he works really hard to make these awesome for everybody and so that he can help as many people as he can.
Oh, thank you.
Well, you've been very helpful for me, so I'm always happy to pass you on to other people and be like, look, life can be better.
Life can be better, especially if you're in Cancun, which I am not at the moment.
No, but you did send a lovely upside down picture of you putting your hands in a Zen garden to everybody this morning, and that looked nice.
Yes, it's interesting because people are like, what did you draw? I drew lines in the sand. It was a Zen garden. You're supposed to draw these lines. So
whatever makes you happy. I was just laughing because the picture loads upside down, and it took me a while to figure out what it was.
Okay, that's me. Sometimes life is just upside down.
You know what it is?
Okay.
I actually thought it was intentional.
And just
hi, Jessica. So
So
nice to see
you were actually just on my way last week?
I was. We had so much fun.
Okay.
So much fun. Make sure you guys watch My Way with Jessica. She's such a lovely host, guys.
And the Breakthrough Show and Project Joy. Is there anything else? Is
Busy
it
lady,
just
and
the
she's
three?
wonderful.
Oh, what was the other one? There's one more. There's one more that Jessica hosts. She hosted with someone else, and I'm forgetting the name right now. I'm blanking out. Put it in the chat, Jessica. You can put that one up too. So, all right. So I see there's like another thing going on here.
Oh, I loaded up your event page so that we could talk a little bit about event marketing.
Ooh, okay. Okay. So are we going to start there? We're going to start with the coaching there?
If you're ready.
I'm ready. Okay, let me add that.
Awesome.
There we go.
Awesome. Okay, so this is the top of your website for wealthy healers. If they're like, oh, I want to check out this conference, this is what they come to first. So this first blurb here, are you a healer who is ready to take their business to the next level? Do you want to make a bigger impact and reap the financial rewards of your hard work? That is that's not bad, but you actually had a bit further down that I thought was a lot more powerful and catchy. Okay, so it's down here. Let me find it for you. This. Did you know that most healers make less than 60K per year? We believe that anyone who helps people to heal should make at least 6 figures. This is really powerful. I would have put this right up top. Okay, because first of all, it tells me that if I'm coming onto this page and I'm a healer who makes less than $60,000 a year, this is a good place for me to be.
Okay.
Right? Essentially, if I'm a healer who makes less than 6 figures per year, this is a great place for me to be. So I would have done something like putting this right at the top, and then something along the lines of let's get you to that 6 figures.
Okay.
So you can help as many people as possible. You know, just something that has a bit more of a punch to it than yeah. And then as for this bit, right? So you're leading by telling me that this you're essentially leading with by telling me this is packed with presentations. And holy crap, I'm tired already.
Oh.
Like if you think about a conference, you're going to a conference and they're like, there's 79 presentations for you to go to. And you're like, that's a lot.
Okay.
Over here, right? It's a little overwhelming. So, and I get that you're coming at it because you want them to know there's going to be tons of value.
Yeah.
But the real value is in the benefits that they're getting.
Okay.
So instead here, I want you to show me, who am I going to be when I leave this conference? Am I going to be more confident? Am I going to be ready to take more action? Am I going to have am I going to have better marketing? Am I going to make more sales? Am I going to spend less time doing the crap that annoys me? You know, I want you to read, like, that's the thing that comes right after the picture for me.
Okay.
Is all the best
confirmation there. It was a lot.
Yeah. Right.
So, okay. So, oh, and look, you're on the same page. We're literally all on the same page. We're all looking at the same page.
All right. And then the next thing I want to draw your attention to is your speaker lineup. Okay. You have a ton of speakers.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing. But the only problem is that these speaker segments are really short.
Okay.
Right? They're 25 minutes a piece.
Yes.
And and they're interview style.
Yes.
Right? And so it's hard to get a lot of value from those sessions as someone who's watching them. I find that if I'm going to a 25-minute session with people, I'm not expecting to learn a ton, right? Which means I'm not getting as significant of breakthroughs, right? So what I would do instead is have fewer speakers speak for longer And instead of doing like you've got a whole wealth of topics here, which is great. But what I would do is do market research in advance to figure out what specific problems does your audience have that they want to address the most. So if it's I want more leads, then I know that I need a really strong session that's going to address lead generation.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then I'm going to look at my speakers and be like, who is going to be the best person to help them with lead generation? And who's going to make the biggest impact for them in 1 hour? Right? Because I want them to walk away feeling all those things that I promised. I want to walk away feeling more confident. I want them to walk away ready to take action and feeling like their business is in a much better place than it was at the beginning of this conference. And so, unfortunately, 25-minute presentations don't move the needle for most people very much. They might get 1 or 2 really good tidbits that they can go try,
mm-hmm.
but they don't necessarily fully understand what wasn't working before and why they need to change it because the speaker hasn't had time to go through that. So I would move to more of a style where you're having select presentations and then a keynote kind of thing.
Okay.
And then you also use the multiple tracks.
Yes.
Right. And that's fine. But the thing is, the room closes at the end of every single section,
mm-hmm.
and they have to go log in again, whether it's to the same track or the second track. And I understand that. I know you guys usually people do that because of the recording, because it forces you to stop the recording and it makes the recording easily catchable. Yes. And I get that that's less work on the back end, but you're now making it more work for your audience instead.
Okay.
And they didn't necessarily show up to work. They showed up to learn
mm-hmm.
and experience. So I would just keep the 2 Zoom rooms open and make sure that your staff is stopping and restarting the recording. Because then when you go into the back, Zoom will have it split into separate files for you. You just have to name
them. Okay.
So it's not a huge amount of work, but it's a little less frustrating for your attendees to have to bounce around. And you can just be like, hey, if you want to hear Danella, stay right here and she's coming on stage now. Or if you want to hear David, then head on over to stage 2. And that way you've only got 2 links going all day. People aren't running around looking for constantly trying to make sure they're in the right room and the right on the right link kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it also means less work. Actually, it will mean a little bit less work for you on the flip side, because now you don't have to send all of your speakers 40,000 links. You can put out your schedule and say, hey, you're on stage A at this time and you're on stage B at this time. Here's the stage A link. Here's the stage B link. And
so it's less work on our side because the speakers, they just get their link and they don't care. They just click on it and go.
Yeah, but yes. So, but it's less work for you, and if especially some of the speakers who I know had multiple spots, it kind of simplifies it for them as well, because it's like, okay, this link at 10:30 and this link at 5.
Okay.
All right. And the other thing I would advise you on is I love the hot seat portion of it. Mm-hmm. I love that I get to be a guest on that portion. It's so much fun. It feels so good. And I love the looks on people's faces when their problems seem simpler and they're ready to actually tackle them at the end.
Yeah.
I would just involve fewer coaches.
Okay.
Because just from my perspective, I feel like if I'm watching it and the first person goes up and those coaches gave awesome advice, I'm starting to trust those coaches. But then you go and you give me a whole bunch of people who I may not have met yet, or I don't trust yet. And the quality of advice ranges
mm-hmm.
for a lot of people. So I would pick, if you're doing 4 or 5 at a time, I would pick 4 or 5 people that you genuinely trust to give great advice on a wide variety of topics in business and stay with those people. So you can do another set on like the second hot seat or whatever, but at least for that hour, everybody is working with the same set of coaches.
Okay. The reason we set that up that way was to give the coaches more exposure to the audience, mm-hmm. There was no favoritism.
Yeah.
It was just everyone who wants it, here's a shot to get more exposure so the audience gets to know you, gets to know your coaching style. So that was one of the goals of the hot seats.
Yeah, and I totally get that, but I think personally, I think the goal of the hot seat should be to get your audience that breakthrough and that moment.
Okay.
Whenever I create and frame an event, for me, it's the audience and the attendees experience is king.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they don't have a good time, they're not coming back next year.
Yeah.
If they're not coming back next year, it doesn't matter if the speakers had a great time, because I need the audience to get the win first. I want it to be a win for everybody. I want it to be a win for the host, the speakers, and the attendees.
Mm-hmm.
But the attendees come first.
Okay.
But that works out because when the attendees win, they become more likely to buy, they become more likely to engage and partake, which makes it a better event for the speakers and in turn a better event for you.
Okay, cool.
Right? Because like I said, then they're coming back next year, then they're being more involved. And those are all things that benefit you.
And just so people know, when we did the hot seats, we had some great advice coming from the coaches. Well, I mean, there was a lot of great words of wisdom coming from the coaches, but there were a few coaches like Cari that were saying, "Do this," and so the people in the hot seats like, "Oh, I have to do this," rather than getting the concepts of this is a good way to do things and this is a good approach, but not actually do this. So yeah, so thank you for that, Cari. Cari was interesting because she wasn't technically in the event. Because there was a miscommunication. She didn't sign up to be a speaker. But then when the event came up, I knew that there were going to be some no-shows, some people that get the times wrong. And so I said, Cari, can you jump in when someone doesn't show up for one of the hot seats of the panels? And then she was just all over that conference.
You know what? It's so much fun. And I love speaking, obviously, which is one of the reasons why I teach it. But I love being able to help people. And hot seat coaching is actually one of my favorite things to do. If I could hot seat coach like 5 days a week and that was where my money came from, I'd do that.
Okay.
I mean, I'd probably still need to do other things and build other things because that's just me and my personality. But I'm currently devising ways that I can work more hot seat coaching into my business for people because I enjoy it so much. And being able to help them break through that and go, oh, I actually know what I'm going to do now.
Okay. And so for the 25-minute slots, just so you're aware, and your method of having fewer speakers, but speakers that I know, like, and trust kind of solves the issue. But the reason we had 25 minutes was sometimes you get a speaker and even in interview style, they run out of things to talk about soon.
Yeah.
And you don't want to schedule an hour and then the person is done in 15 minutes and then there's just, and now what? Right? So, and while most of the speakers were good, without naming names, there were a couple of speakers where we were done in 10 minutes on a 25-minute slot. And I'm just trying to pull things out to cover the last 15 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. One of the best things that you can do if you're hosting a summit or a conference or anything like that is during the early days when you're bringing in speakers is ask them to send you either a speaker reel or a webinar that they've done or any kind of examples of their past speaking, because it gives you a better idea of how dynamic they are, how interesting they are. And that way you can watch that. If you don't click with them, you can be like, you know what, this isn't the right event for you. Best of luck. But we have to pick the people that are best for our audience and that are going to make the right kind of presentation that we want. And you could even do with the hot seat coaching, if you're like, okay, what we really want is those coaches who are going to show up and give people actions instead of concepts and theories. You can even host a test hot seat thing where it's a private room and you invite 4 or 5 people to show up and ask questions of the coaches and see how they handle that hot seat coaching. And that way it's not favoritism, it's just entirely performance based.
Okay. Cool.
And you're coming at it and you're openly saying, we want this to be the highest quality event we can for our attendees because we love them and they are amazing and they deserve high quality. So we're going to vet this thoroughly. And your event planner should be part of that and should be able to help you with that process so that you're not doing it alone and ripping your hair out. Well, you don't rip your hair out, but I do. So
you rip your hair out, or you rip my hair out because,
If I try to rip your hair out, it's going to be awkward because it's going to involve me with tweezers trying to get to your eyebrows because that's the only thing I got to work with over there. And that's just not I don't think that would be as satisfying as the full thing.
You never know.
You never know. We could try.
On my part.
We could try.
Oh, that's good. Okay,
so I think it would be really concerning to see somebody like running at somebody with a pair of tweezers. It's like.
I think that's concerning. Was also actually about when we were talking about someone speaks and after 10 minutes they're done.
Oh yes, that is also concerning. That's definitely something that that would be something that would that's not comforting. If you're trying to get into the speaking game, know how long you're going to have to speak for. Make sure you're prepped and you've got that material, because those holes will kill you.
Yep. Yes. So I actually had a full head of hair before we did the conference.
And then he met Cari.
Yeah. Oh, it's this. Thanks for today, Shiraz and Cari. These recommendations will definitely something blocking it. Make the event experience so much Meyer beneficial. I think that's more.
I'm going to assume.
So.
Thank you so much for checking out the show, Rosemary. I will see you tomorrow. I saw that you signed up for the masterclass. We're going to have an awesome time. We're going to get some great work done.
All right. Okay. So we got some advice on how to get more benefits to the audience, still showcasing the speakers. So one of the big things with events, and that every person that puts an event on or has tried to put an event on knows, is getting people to actually show up. I think the audience would appreciate any words of wisdom you may have on this topic, Cari.
Yeah. So there's a bit of an art to this. Okay. So you're never going to get everybody to show up. Things happen. So don't stare at your list going, oh my God, why didn't Eddie show up today? Not like Eddie has any, we know Eddie doesn't have anything to do. Yeah. Okay. You don't know anything about Eddie. He's probably there.
I'm assuming this is a private joke between you and Jessica.
It is. I was talking about how balloon arches don't help anybody.
Okay. So if you want to know about balloon arches,
that should be a priority.
Yeah. Go check out My Way. I think, was that on the interview? Or was that just
No, I think it was actually private. I don't think it made it into the call.
You can check out My Way.
Basically, in summary, don't spend money on balloon arches before you've spent money on the things that are really important, like your speakers and making sure your event has a good flow. Balloon arches come last.
Okay.
Nobody needs a balloon arch is the summary of that right there. But
I think some people need a balloon arch.
They really don't. I absolutely promise you, they really don't.
Okay.
And I'm not 100% anti-balloon arches, by the way. They just have to be one of the last things you purchase. Okay. People are like, yes, balloon arches. And I'm like, we haven't talked about food yet. Priorities. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Got it.
So for getting people to show up. So obviously the first thing is to get people to register, and to buy their tickets in the first place. And that happens through your marketing. So we talked a little about that. We talked how I restructure your page, focus on the benefits, really focus on when you're talking about the emotions that they're going to feel and the growth they're going to see in themselves, because that's what they're there for. They're not actually there to listen to Nancy speak about XYZ. Right? That's a stepping stone to get them where they want to go. So make sure you're talking about where they actually want to be at the end of the day before you're talking about anything else. So once we get them registered, actually, I now carry around pins and I pop them every time I see them. No, not really. Maybe when I'm old and very cranky. So once we've actually got them registered, then we start an engagement process. So they should get a couple of emails that are exciting them, especially if you can give them emails that give them little things to do, videos to watch, little previews of some of the speakers are really awesome. If you can get the speakers to make a little video that says, hi, I'm Cari. I'm going to see you on Tuesday. We are going to have so much fun and I'm going to teach you XYZ so that you can ABC in your business. Those kind of things make people more excited. They make them more interested in showing up. And then there's other little things that you can build in. If you want to send them a quiz, that's one of the things I like to do now is I send you a quiz beforehand so that you've got a really good grasp on what you want to learn. You're now more likely to show up. I love I love pieces that ask for their input. So reach out and ask them, what do you want to get out of this conference? What matters to you most? What is the number one thing in your business that you want to change in the next month? And by letting them give you that feedback, you're showing not only that you're building an event that's about them, but they're thinking about those things. So now they've associated that want with your event. I want more clients. They asked me about this. Going to this event and now I'm linking going to this event with getting more clients, which in turn means your attendance rate goes up a little bit.
Mhm.
Of course, making sure your reminders go out. It seems like such a little stupid thing, but people forget those.
Mhm.
So program those in advance. Make sure that your tech automation is set up so that you're not trying to go, oh, I have to remember at 10 o'clock to send out the 1 hour notice. Don't do that to yourself. No one needs that. Every email software out there has a schedule button. Use it wisely. So doing all that stuff. If you want to use social media to help build activity and engagement, same thing. If you want to do little clips with the speakers to get them to come on and say, hey, this is what we're going to talk about. And then you can say, well, why is it important for them to learn that? And again, just constantly stressing the benefits that they're going to get and how their life is going to be a little bit better at the end of this conference so that they're connecting all those things.
Okay. So the one issue we had, and I think we've found a workaround with this particular event, was a lot of the emails were going to spam.
Mm-hmm.
So the solution we're looking at next time is having an app for the event.
Okay.
So we know they're going to get it unless they purposely turn off the notifications on apps. But for people that don't want to have to go out and buy an app, is there anything you can recommend?
So, okay, your email delivery system, was it built in through the event?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I would also do is I would also take all of those names, plug them into your own, like your own business's your own business's email marketing system, whether it's ConvertKit or MailChimp or whatever it is that you like to use. And that way, and send one or two of the emails from your account as well.
And just alternate as we sent it.
Yeah, so that way, if one is going to spam, it's a lot less likely that the other is going to spam.
Yeah.
A lot of platforms now also allow you to add on text marketing, and they have it already built in. So it's an extra fee, of course,
Mhm.
but people can opt in for text marketing, and you can kind of really strongly encourage that and be like, hey, if you opt into text marketing, you get entered in a draw. Or something like that, or there's a special freebie that's just for people who use the text marketing. Just
Okay.
because, like you said, that's not going to spam.
Okay.
Also, make sure they're getting a test message like as soon as they sign up, and that even on your thank you page, I like it to say, hey, an email confirming your ticket is on its way. Please check your junk folder and move us to your inbox so that you will see all future reminders. So make sure they see it up front, and hopefully they listen. I can't promise that they will,
Yes.
but you do what you can.
People have a problem reading.
Very true. Very true. Again, video.
Yeah.
On your thank you page, there should also be a video of you saying, thank you. We're so excited that you're coming to this conference. You're going to learn XYZ. You're going to feel more confident. You're going to be making more sales, and you're going to get much closer to making six figures every year in your healing business. Make sure you go and check that you got our email, and it should be in your inbox already. If it's not, check your junk mail. If it is in your junk mail, please star us and move us to your inbox so that you don't miss any of the awesome content coming your way, including the really cool freebies that our speakers have set up for you.
Okay.
Really punch home that incentive. But it's not just about make sure you're seeing the reminders. It's about make sure you're getting those bonuses.
Okay.
So we love to get stuff.
Now, whoops, what just happened?
Oh, thank you, Rachel.
Okay.
Thank you so much for watching and joining us today.
All right. So now you do webinars and you do events.
I do.
Now, I would think that there would be a longer lead up time in promotion for events over webinars, but I'm not
Mhm.
the expert, so that's what I'm asking.
Absolutely. So the bigger the commitment you're asking from your audience, the more of a lead up time you need. Right. So if I'm asking for 1 hour of your time, I need that's a much smaller commitment than 3 days.
Mhm.
Right. So you're talking to human beings are always busy, right? So in order to get those 3 days unblocked in their calendar, you want to go back further. So with a webinar, I recommend now that you give a month's notice because we're seeing actually the latest, B2B report actually shows that nearly 50% of registrations are happening at 15 or more days before the event for small events now.
Wow.
Whereas before we saw the majority happen between 1 to 7 days before the event, we've
Yeah.
now seen a nice jump that people really want to see them get and put that stuff in their calendar early. So with a webinar, give yourself a full month. It also gives you a chance to change your marketing if nobody's responding to it, so that you can alter words, you can alter pictures, all those things to figure out and kind of try a second time. Whereas if you only give yourself 2 weeks, you don't really have that time. With an event, you're right, you need a much bigger lead time. With something like a 3-day event, I expect you to be at least doing initial early birds, anything like that. I want to see it 3 months in advance.
Okay. Oh, so okay, so we have the early birds, and what I've seen for most events now is early bird goes till like the day before the event. Would you say have an early bird that ends like a month before the event, and then, or an early bird, or
So you can do either. It depends on a lot of things. So it's a little different with a virtual event. The joys of early bird with a live event is usually with a live event, you need to have set numbers because somebody's making physical food, somebody, you have a physical space, all those things that you need to confirm more than with a minimum amount of notice, or you need a minimum number before the event can actually happen. With a virtual event, you don't have that. So you can extend your early bird. But the true joy of an early bird and the incentive of an early bird is that it will end. So to me, if the early bird goes until the day before the event, that's not an incentive for me to sign up right now.
Mhm.
That lets me think about it. If the early bird ends tomorrow or next week, and then there's 3 weeks before the event, that's more incentive for me to sign up in advance. Right? Which is the true purpose of an early bird, is to get people saying yes early on.
Okay. So okay, and maybe it's just my brain hearing this. Would the early bird not only be a lower price but more bonuses?
That's a great tactic to take, is that, hey, you signed up super early, and so we're going to throw this extra in for you because we're really excited that you've committed to us.
Okay.
That's a great option for people. That's something people love, and that really tailors into what I call. So I use the color method of understanding sales personalities. So red people love sales bonuses. They need a reason to act now,
Yeah.
because that's the way their personality works. That's them, right? They want to act right now. They want to dwell. It's either good right now or it's not.
Okay.
So those bonuses and things, you're really dialing into that aspect of their personality, and you're going to make them more excited to want to be with you.
Okay. Cool.
As long as they're great bonuses. If they're kind of like fluffy bonuses that are just there, I have no interest in them.
All right. Okay, so now we're getting an advertisement for the Breakthrough Show Network meet and greet in October.
We
On
can
this
carpool to
slide,
Connecticut.
Connecticut. Okay. Wow.
We can carpool there, right?
Yep.
It's
Okay.
it's the fall. Isn't there supposed to be like nice foliage and things in New York in the fall? I don't know. I've never been there at that time of year, so we can.
Well, it says Connecticut, so I don't know what the foliage is like in Connecticut.
Well, let's go find out.
Okay. October. Mystic, Connecticut sounds like where you want to be on Halloween.
It's true.
Is it on Halloween, Jessica? Mystic, Connecticut on Halloween. She's agreeing with you with the foliage. I have just want to bring Jessica into this conversation. Just bring her up here.
Well, I think we really appreciate how dedicated she is to supporting all of the shows on her network and taking the time to watch all the shows and comment along. I think that's amazing that you guys have built such a supportive community.
Oh yeah. Jessica is a wonderful host. And apparently Mystic is where Mystic Pizza was filmed. I don't know. So
Wouldn't it be sad if you got there then and they had terrible pizza?
it would
I'm
be.
sure they don't, but that would make me sad.
Oh, it could be terrible as long as it's still Mystic, like it just floats or something. I don't know.
There's a place downtown Toronto, I think it's the Mystic Muffin, except just based on the look of the place, the whole place looks like somewhere where you would only go if you're high. So I think that was what they were going for with the Mystic angle. But
okay. All right. I'm just trying to be aware of the time now. We're at 22, so it's going to be time to flip it around. So we have been getting some cool coaching from Cari. See how I did that alliteration there? So we're going to do a really quick break and then come back, and I'm going to do energetic magic.
Yay!
Yay!
Breakthroughs are about more than you might think. They're about discovering who you are, digging deep, reaching to the core of your soul. They're about healing yourself, understanding your beliefs, creating a ripple effect. And it's not just those initial moments that matter. It's about using them to bring more joy into our own lives and the lives of others. It's about having fun, letting loose, enjoying every moment life has to offer. It's about finding a safe space. It's about creating connection. Join us each and every day for exclusive programming, special events, and a community to call home, where we invite you to explore, change the way you look at and live your life, and go beyond the breakthrough. So we ask you, are you ready? We'll see you online at thebreakthroughshow.com.
Boom, we're back. All right. Cari's going to get some energetic magic done now. And if you're new to the show and you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, I'm going to have a conversation with Cari, and we're going to talk about an issue she would like to change in her life. And Cherlo pizza is not a thing in New England. Okay.
That helps. That makes us more motivated to make that road trip down there.
Got it. So when I talk to Cari, I can tell when her conscious beliefs match her unconscious beliefs. So on the things she wants to change, she may say, this is really what I want. And I might say, no, you don't. Because the conscious and unconscious are not matching up. So once we find out that's going on, we're going to look for the story running in her subconscious that is causing that to not be true. And when we find it, I'm going to say, Cari, are you willing to step out of that story? And if Cari is willing to step out of that story, it's going to shift things right in that moment. We are rewiring her neurons by her decision to shift that story. Now, the cool thing is, as someone that's watching this, whether you're watching live or watching the replay, when I ask that question, if you've got a similar belief, it doesn't have to be exact, but you get it like, oh, I know exactly what he's talking about. Then when I say, are you willing to step out that story? If you say yes and mean it, it's going to shift for you too. That is the fun part about this. So now the weird part about this is when I do that and energy does shift, I tend to yawn and cough. So that may be happening as long as we get shifts out of Cari. If there's no shifts out of Cari, it's just I'm just sitting here going, sorry, it's not happening. That rarely happens. So Cari, what do you want to get work on to?
I just need to add a brief caveat to that is that I often also like yawn or cough. And just because the last session that we did this, I had this enormous burp that came out. So that's very rare for me, but just in case, I don't want any of our viewers to be startled in case this is the first time they've seen anything like this.
Okay.
It's his fault.
Yes, it's totally my fault. That she burps.
100%. Okay, I want to procrastinate less.
Wow, that did not come up true.
No, not at all. I felt it as soon as I said it. Like I often can feel it after I've said it to you. I can feel it like right in the middle of my chest. And as soon as I said it, my body went ping.
Okay.
Okay,
So
let's back this up.
there's multiple reasons why people procrastinate. And one of the reasons is they just don't want to do something. So they keep procrastinating, hoping that somehow they'll get out of it. The most popular thing I've seen for procrastination is that if you procrastinate and then you do things at the last minute, oh, look at this. Okay, so a bunch of procrastinators online right now. So,
You know how much I love forming teams?
yeah. So one of the things that can be very, very powerful in procrastinating is that you've got a 3-week assignment and then you do it all the night before it's due. And while that's like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. If you get it done, there's this feeling of pride and empowerment that I did 3 weeks worth of work in one night. And that rush you feel becomes addicted. So then you keep procrastinating so you can get that rush again. So that's the second reason people procrastinate. The third reason is that you're hoping, it's not that you don't want to do it, but if you do that, this is number 3. If you don't procrastinate and you get it done, then now you've stepped into this new area of your life. That could be a success life. It could be now you're dealing with other people that you don't want to look at. Your energy is just like right now. Okay. Right. So the procrastination is to keep you from moving forward, even though you think consciously, I want to move forward. So
I can tell you right now, it's definitely about keeping me from moving forward because I just felt it in my hip.
Okay. So what's going to happen if you stop procrastinating and get all that shit done? What's going to change in your life?
I'm going to move forward.
Yes.
My work is probably going to be a higher quality because it's not rushed.
Okay.
I will have to do more work.
You will have to do more work.
Yes.
Why will you have to do more work?
Because that is apparently the thing that has been embedded into my soul.
Okay. Fair enough.
Because you have time, you can get more done. You got that, you got your errands done by 10 in the morning. Now you have to do the other 6 things around the house that you wanted to do, or think that you have to do.
Or you're now more successful, you're making more money, and you can hire people to do the things around the house that have to be done.
I love that plan. I love that plan so much. And see, that one I know is true throughout my whole body. The idea of someone to clean my house. So happy.
I saw this one too. Okay, so are you willing to step out of the story that when you become more successful, you have to do work? More
yes.
Work. Okay. Are you willing to step out of the story that when you have free time, you have to fill it up with work?
Yes.
Okay. Is doing nothing wasting time?
Yes.
It's such a matter of yes.
I'm not being honest.
So if you're consciously choosing to do nothing just so you can enjoy doing nothing, it's not a waste of time. It's actually how you're spending your time. There's weird stuff going on. Like I'm getting that consciously, but that feels just so wrong.
Yeah. Oh no, consciously carries 100% on board with like.
Okay.
And you and I talk about this all the time, how my conscious and subconscious are seem to completely disagree. Because conscious carry is like, hey, you get to go do whatever you want with your day. If you want to relax, if you want to binge watch 12 hours of Gilmore Girls, then that's what you wanted to do with your day.
Yeah.
Subconscious carry is like,
So, and I want you to get what's going on here is because when you're procrastinating, you're still not doing anything with your time, except now you're anxious about the whole thing. Well, I'm not doing it. And I should be doing it. So now there's this inner struggle going on when you could just be not doing anything, right? Or getting to that success and then not doing anything because now you can get other people to do stuff for you.
Yes. And I feel guilty about procrastinating. I'm like, I should be working right now. And then I'm like, but I don't want to.
All right, you don't have to qualify to rest. Look at this. Now we've got continuity going through the day on a breakthrough show.
That's awesome.
So, all right. So, are you willing to step out of the story that when you're doing nothing, you're being lazy?
Yes.
One of the things I tell my students is you should always be doing your best. And they're like, oh, so we've always got to be productive. I said, no, you should always be doing your best. So if you decide to be a couch potato, you better be the best couch potato you could be and just lay there and have no other plans and just like, oh my God, I'm going to eat lots of unhealthy foods right now. Like, however that best you is, right? So look at
Such a
that.
happy
Mello
image.
gets it.
You know what, Mello? That's a really important plan to have. And that is often my plan is if anybody tells me I can have the house to myself.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the plan. It's me doing nothing. I should have the house to myself Wednesday night. I've already picked out a movie. It's gonna be great.
Okay. Hashtag winning. But again, as entrepreneurs, as especially if we are children of busy, productive adults, we are taught you've always got to be busy, you've always got to be filling the time. Don't waste any time.
Doing nothing is lazy.
Yep. And that's all our
Oh
parent
yeah.
stories. Yep, there it is.
Right there.
Okay. So are you willing to step out of the story you were taught that doing nothing is lazy?
Yes. See, I do it too. It's the sign of a good shift.
Okay, cool. Okay. Yeah. People haven't brought up procrastination in a while. I meant to do a course on it, but I just never got around to it. Okay. Here we go. How are you feeling now?
Better. Less guilty about the procrastinating I did this morning.
Okay. So now here's the thing. You're procrastinating so that you don't become successful and then feel guilty that you're not filling up your time. So what you're actually trying to avoid is the guilt that comes from, oh, I'm successful now and I have free time and I should fill it up. And if I don't, I'm a bad person. So you're replacing that future guilt with current guilt that I'm procrastinating in this moment. So it's not like you're avoiding the guilt. You're just getting it in smaller doses constantly than that big thing you think is coming up later. You're actually getting more guilt overall now than you would if you became successful, had all the free time and the money and didn't do anything.
Well, I like to live complicated.
Right. But this is uncommon. This is what people do, right? And they say, I'm going to avoid all that big guilt by creating small guilt right now.
Sounds about right.
All right. Okay. That's feeling a lot better. Is there anything else coming up for you?
Just a lot of thinking about why it usually takes me a good while to get started going in the morning to start work unless I have a meeting. Like I'll jump on and be present for the meeting, but if I don't have anything planned and it's like, oh, I'm going to work on my presentation today, that's usually when it's like, and nothing happens before 11 a.m.
Yeah, but that still goes into this procrastination, which stems from you trying not to create the success, which stems from you trying not to be guilty when you have lots of money and lots of free time and you don't start using it all. Okay. So are you willing to step out of the story that you have to slow down the path to success as much as possible?
Yes.
Okay. And first person or people or thing that pops into your head, who decides what your success looks like?
My father.
Okay. Are you willing to step out of the story that he gets to decide what your success looks like?
Yes. It was a lot.
This is very common, though. We often give
Yep.
control of our lives to our parents without even realizing it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not always even in a, we call it a good way, because his way is use up all your time, always be busy. But sometimes we give up control to our parents because they could say something like, you're never going to amount to anything. And some people will just be like, oh, I'm never going to amount to anything. So they don't. But other people will be like, I can't let my father get away with that. I'm going to definitely amount to something. But that's the conscious thought. And the unconscious thought is, I'm going to make sure I keep failing, because now I get to blame my dad because he kept saying I'm never going to amount to him. So now it's all his fault. And I don't have to feel guilty if I don't amount to anything. And it's safer to do this, because why take the chance of trying to get to success and then losing it? But meanwhile, consciously, you're trying to get to success and losing it, but just not in the way you could, because you get to blame your dad. It's amazing how we do things.
Thankfully, my father has never told me that like I won't amount to anything or that I can't do anything.
Yep.
Like he's a self-made entrepreneur, so he's pretty supportive of the whole process. I feel like I'm constantly failing him.
Yeah, but he's a hard.
He's never been like, you fail.
Yeah. Yeah, but he's the hard worker. He was taught work hard to succeed, not have fun and succeed. It's just we do what we're taught.
I like the having fun part more.
Okay. Would you be disrespecting him if you didn't work hard and create lots of success?
A little.
Okay.
That wasn't like a resounding yes, but there was like a small pang.
Okay. So are you willing to step out of the story that you have to keep working hard so you don't disrespect your father?
Yes. We did warn you about all the yawning.
Yep. And is work supposed to be fun?
Yes. No.
Not that.
That was conscious Cari and subconscious Cari. I wish I could have like a little sign so for when for each one is talking, it's like subconscious Cari says, and then conscious Cari says.
We should get little signs made up.
We should like little paddles that you like flip.
Yeah, I got this one, but it doesn't apply right now.
No. We'll make ones that say conscious and subconscious. So that...
It's got this on the back though.
Oh. Conscious Cari very much thinks work should be fun. Subconscious Cari says no.
Okay.
Work is work.
So are you willing to step out of the story that work is not supposed to be fun?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. How's that feel?
Really good.
Yay.
I'm ready to go have some fun.
All right.
Which is good because I'm presenting tomorrow, which is one of my favorite parts of my business anyway. So,
all right. So I'm going to put that back in the chat. If you want to attend Cari's, why is it taking so long? There it goes. Cari's event tomorrow. There is the link to join. But also, Cari, if people want to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
You can find me at redbucketevents.com, or if you're an Instagram person, you can look up Red Bucket Events, and we're hanging out there. Feel free to send us an email or DM, and we are happy to get in touch with you and help you with any of your event or webinar needs. All
right, cool. And that will be in the show notes if you are watching. But I mean, it sounds like a pretty straightforward URL there. So.
You know what? I'm a big believer in business could stand to be simpler. A lot of people overcomplicate things. So I'm a huge believer in simplicity and consistency with business. So Red Bucket Events is my name everywhere except for TikTok.
What's it on TikTok?
Toronto Event Planner.
Okay. Was Red Bucket Events taken?
It wasn't, but Toronto Event Planner wasn't taken. And generally on TikTok, people have never heard of my business. They're not looking for me specifically. They are looking for an event planner in Toronto.
Okay.
So that was the strategy behind that name. And to be honest, if that name was available on Instagram or anywhere else, I would take it, but it is not. So that was the only one where it was available.
All right. Cool. So, oh, look at this. I'm getting cues now. I actually looked it up. I've got it on my phone. I was ready to say all this stuff. So tomorrow, Project Joy live at 8 a.m. and Beyond 2D is at 6 p.m. And then on Wednesday at 7 p.m. is Divine DNA. So another very cool week with the Breakthrough Show Network. So before we head out, Cari, do you have any final words of wisdom for our audience?
Absolutely. First, thank you so much for having me on the show, Shiraz. It was so much fun. And to our wonderful audience, please make sure you drop a comment on the chat, even if you're just watching the replay. We love to hear from you. And share this episode with a friend who you think could benefit from it, whether they use webinars or events in their business, or if they are stuck in procrastination mode. Make sure you send them this video so that they can benefit too.
And send it right away. Don't procrastinate about sending it. All right. Thank you so much, Cari, for coming on the show. I will see you soon because we hang out. And for the audience, we will be back in a month with a brand new, amazing guest who I don't know because I haven't scheduled anyone yet, but I should start scheduling further ahead because as an event planner told me, you should be scheduling these things like 3 months out. So I need to get on that. Okay.
Scheduling is your friend because then you can automate your social media and all of your other stuff. And then, one more thing you don't have to do.
All right. Cool. I'm always for one more thing I don't have to do.
Me too.
Oh, look at this. Aw, thanks, Mello.
Thanks so much, Mello, for joining us.
All right. We'll be back next month with a brand new guest that's going to coach me, and then we'll do some more energetic magic.
Yay.
And all right. So I have to do some stuff here to make it a really cool ending. Let me hold on. Okay, here we go.